Well, hello everybody. Welcome to P.B.M. Vending. As you know, on this channel we talk about vending, our little rental house, credit cards, and credit. Today, I want to talk about our little rental house. And whenever I think about our little rental house, the phrase that comes to my mind is, sometimes I feel like I'm winning when I'm losing again. I don't remember the name of the song that came from. But, and I was praying the other day, and I was prompted to do this video. And I think I know the reason why, but we'll see. Now, I'll start way back at the beginning. Years and years ago, when I was young and unsaved, I was a slumlord. I wanted to be wealthy, I wanted to be there quickly, and I didn't care about anything. Fast forward to last year. I've been saved for quite a few years. Did not want to get into the rental business, but again, in prayer was prompted to, so I did. Bought our little house. I documented the miraculous things that happened in the purchase of that house. And then I rented the house. The first person I rented to was a lovely young lady, single mom. Unfortunately, the neighbor is a whack job and he scared her off. So then now in the middle of the winter, of course, is when things happen, I rented to this scumbag. And so he moves in, and one of the many things I wanted to do different is I did not want to be a slumlord. I wanted to take good care of the property, good care of the tenants, and make money secondarily. But I wanted to be a good neighbor. So this guy moves in, and in 3 or 4 months, makes his payments on time. I put in a new ceiling fan for him. Pardon me. Not a cheap one, I put in a nice one. I put additional insulation in the entire house, in the ceiling. Changed out a thermostat that he broke, by the way. I did the best I could. So he makes his payments November, December, January, February is the last payment he makes. March comes and he says, oh, we got the flu. And this is the first thing we heard about COVID-19. Oh, I lost my job because of COVID-19. So now at this point, I have figured out who this guy is and what he's about. And so I made an agreement with him for a 2-week agreement that he didn't keep. In that period of time, the governor of Illinois steps in and says, okay, you can't kick anybody out. So now, I had to make that payment to the bank on my own with no income from him. And because of all the updating I had done to the house, I got no cash. So I also had heard on the radio that the governor had made allowances for property owners to get forbearance on their loans. And so I prayed about it. I mean, I wanted to believe that God was going to deal with this and that I didn't need help. And the more I prayed about it, the more I remembered the story where God says, you know, it's a story. I sent you a boat, a life raft, and a helicopter. What else did you want? And so that's when I picked up the phone and called the bank and got forbearance on my loan, which, by the way, does affect your credit rating. And I specifically asked, and they told me no, it does. Mine went down 10 points the first month. And it shows as a late payment on my credit bureau. So, but anyway, I digress. So 1 month goes by, 2 months go by, and I don't hear from this guy. 3 months go by, and again in prayer, I was reminded of the story where Jesus says you should try to work out your differences. Oh, by the way, this guy claims to be a Christian. You should try to work your differences out between you rather than go before a judge who may not be Christian and work against you. So, against my better judgment, I called or texted this guy and said, would you like to work something out? And he said, what do you have in mind? Now, at this point, it's 3 months. And I said, you owe me 3 months. I will forgive 1.5 months of it if you pay right now. Because I know for a fact that he got $2,400 from the government, plus he's getting $1,200 extra a month in unemployment because he and his wife both worked at the same place. So they got plenty of cash. But I said, I'll forgive half of it if you'll pay. And you know what he said? Let me pray about it. And I couldn't figure out why he said that. Well, the next day I knew why. Because the governor was going to make a speech and decide whether or not he was going to allow this lock-in to continue, and he did. Never heard back from this guy. Never heard back. So now it's 4 months. We are now in the sixth month. We're getting ready to go into 4 months. So off and on, and I've always said, when I was in business before, if people had just done what they said they were going to do, I would have been very wealthy. But people are liars and cheaters and stealers. And they never do what they say they're going to do. So the first guy I get in there, it's the same old story. And so I've been complaining to God about it, and every time I pray about it, I get a peace and a calm. Well, yesterday I was praying about it, and God says, if I fix this tomorrow, who gets the credit? I didn't have an answer. But if I look back on this, the difference between now and 30 years ago is, if God had saved me 30 years ago, I would have taken the credit. Now, and I hadn't even given this any thought until yesterday, I haven't spoken out and told everybody how bad this thing is. Yes, he's lived there 4 months for free. But I've had forbearance on the loan, and it hasn't cost me anything. So, am I winning? Am I losing? I don't think that's the right question. The right question is, when this is all said and done and he's gone, God's going to get the credit. I have no idea what God's got in mind. So, earlier this week, we're getting ready in Illinois supposedly to go into phase 4 of opening the state back up out of 5 stages. And at that point, the courts are going to reopen. So I called my attorney and I said, well, I understand the courts are going to be open. I guess it's time to get this show on the road. And she said, no, we can't do that. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, the governor said we could, but the Supreme Court stepped in. Now remember, I live in Illinois. The Supreme Court stepped in and said, no, we still can't do evictions. And that's indefinite. That's until they change their mind. So who knows how long that could be? I don't. And I got really aggravated once again. And I prayed once again. And that's when I was reminded, I can solve this, but who gets the credit? The governor isn't going to get the credit. The Supreme Court is not going to get the credit. Brian is not going to get the credit. God's going to get the credit because he's going to fix this. I mean, think about, now it doesn't all revolve around me, I get it, but think about this. When there was no emergency, he paid his rent as soon as the emergency hit, and he just got lucky. I mean it. But as soon as he stopped paying, he provided a way for me to be protected through a forbearance of my loan. Now that's coming due next month. And what happens from there, I have no idea. I mean, I could be right back in hot water again. Or not. But whatever happens, God's in charge. And God help that guy. God help that guy. And I will say this. I'm not proud of this, but I did pray this. Because I've seen God's wrath taken out on people that go after his children, when I see that getting ready to happen, I always pray for mercy for the people he's about to go after. Not this guy. And you know why? Because people that have hurt me in the past have done it, once or twice, or accidentally, or had a good reason. This guy gets up every day, stealing my money, lying to me, mocking God, mocking Christians, day in, day out, for months. And my guess is when I finally get in there, he will have destroyed my property. That's my guess. I hope not, but that's my guess. So, I am not praying for mercy for that guy. I just, whatever, vengeance is yours, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Okay. Okay. I mean, selfishly, I would like to see that, but I don't have to. I know God's got this. I bought that rental house because I thought God wanted me to. And maybe this is part of the reason why. I don't know why. But I know I didn't want to buy it. I didn't want to rent it. I didn't want to deal with it. But here we are. And that's why I know God's got this. God does not do things for no reason at all. So, I wanted to come on, tell the whole story. The whole nasty, rotten story. And when God deals with it, and there is a resolution, I'm going to come on here and I'm going to give God the glory, providing I'm still around. Well, that's all I wanted to talk about. Just wanted to bring you up to speed on our little rental house that the ministry has purchased. And so that we can give God the glory together when he deals with this problem and this jerk, this non-Christian, anti-Christian, anti-God person, lying, cheating, manipulating, and stealing from God's children and mocking God Almighty. Well, you guys have a great day. Please pray. Please pray. And happy vending!